back on the escalator again.
Leave it alone.
What?
Comics.
What are you?
I'm Batman.
TV and movies. Wrestling. Music.
We are just getting started!
Finally, a podcast about things you actually care about, hosted by a couple of guys who actually care about those things too.
What? Did we just become best friends?
Yep. Maybe a little too much.
Yes, that's awesome.
The talented one, Chris Machete.
That no-talent ass clown became famous.
And Brenton, you know, that guy from your other favorite podcast.
I liked it. I was good at it.
So grab onto the handrail and don't let go.
Get ready! There's a little boy caught the escalator!
This is the Kids on the Escalator podcast.
Woo!
Here's CM and BD.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The show is about to begin.
Hey, sip that coffee. Sip that.
Hello from coffee.
Yeah, where are you at?
I am in Indianapolis,
Indiana. Okay.
Indiana. Yeah.
What's
I'm
Indiana
in,
known for?
Not
Not their coffee.
No, I would say no. I mean the Indianapolis 500 for all you
Yeah.
people that like to watch things go in
For
circles.
sure.
The Pacers, the Colts. So they got some major sports teams here. Meet
Me?
Republicans. And it's a nice little city. Yeah.
Is it warm there?
Well, I would say it's probably like in Canadian terms, probably like around 13 today.
Oh, cool.
Maybe
That's
maybe 11, but tonight's or tomorrow's supposed to be like -4, so I think they're all over the place. Anyways, it's it's a Monday night.
Bitchy.
And hello, it's the beginning of my birthday week. So it's a
Yay.
week-long celebration of just me. That's what's going to happen.
Wow.
And I've started it with coffee.
There you go.
Not
Good way to start it.
Not really. It's just a thing. I'm working on my birthday, so it gives me an opportunity to, say hey and hello everybody, and welcome to the Kids on the Escalator podcast for a Monday night on the Dean Blundell Network, brought to you by the Bible and all of our Christian friends that are coming after us on a daily basis.
Nice.
Hello everybody, welcome to the show.
I've got a great storyline coming up in my comic book about a religious group. So I'm finding that my comic book is a great way
To
to vent my emotions and my feelings without you know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
Like I'm doing a protest part right now because in my comic book, the folks of the city of Kingston's on shutdown, but it's not because of a disease or anything. It's because of a paranormal activity. So they've got it all shut down. So
Yeah,
the rest of Ontario can kind of like, figure out what to do with Kingston. Should we just blow it up? Should we? And the people inside of Kingston are like, well, geez, let us out. Let us out. So I got this great big protest scene I'm drawing right now, which is great. And the next thing, of course, I want to tackle probably around issue 10 will be a religious group, because you got to have a religious group if there's any kind of satanic stuff going on.
Got it.
Right. So I'm really looking forward to that. So I get to get all my angst out with society in my comic book, and I'm really enjoying it. It keeps me sane.
I don't. I send a Twitter, and then it's and then my
Yeah.
inbox lights up. However, I'd
Yeah.
like to point out for the record, love to all. If you play nice in the sandbox.
Sure.
If you don't
Peace and
play
love.
nice in the sandbox, the
Be
last
excellent
person
to
that
each
didn't
other.
play nice in the sandbox with me
Aw.
threw a rock and it cracked my skull in grade 3. And I didn't like him very much after that.
Okay.
So there you go. But anyways, love to all. Everyone get along. Let's all
Yeah.
get along.
Well,
Drink coffee.
Party on and be excellent to each other, my friends. Now I got
Mhm.
another question for you. What
Yeah.
are your top 2 chocolate bars?
I'm a Twix and Kit Kat guy.
Yeah, right. So again, so I never realized this or noticed this, but it was brought to my attention that the 2 chocolate bars that I like the most are probably the 2 least liked ever, and they are. Do you like Big Turk?
No.
Do you like Eat More?
Ish.
Ish. Well, that's see, right? Like those are my 2. Like if I had to get rid of every chocolate bar and leave 2, it would be the Big Turk and Eat More. Which I found that I've always liked Big Turk, and it's just like a gummy bear covered in chocolate. I thought like a Swedish gummy bear. But
Sure.
Yeah. I don't know. Weird stuff.
But I don't have the sweet tooth. So for me, it's like
Right. No, but it's
like-
funny that if you did, it's
Yeah.
just kind of like one of those things, like when you think, wow, because you buy one and people look at you like, oh, wow, I'm buying that. Huh?
Remember
That's
the
great.
Seinfeld dedicated that whole episode to the Twix. Remember George was trying to get the Twix out of the thing, out of
Yes. They did a O. Henry episode as well.
Yeah, it's like, and
Henry
the O. Henry, that's
that one's that is a great one too.
Sue Ellen Mishke.
Too common.
Sue Ellen Mishke.
Yes, the bra girl, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And now the Olympics are over. Now, again, I was kind of yawning through it. For Canadian women.
Oh, killed it. The thing is, I'm down here in America, America. So
Right.
I don't the Canadian coverage I can't get because it's quote unquote banned from down here or whatever. Like you can't get the coverage. So I haven't seen shit. I didn't even see them win the gold. I haven't seen anything Olympics, which, unfortunately, I've got a great Olympian friend in Mercedes Nickel, and she's been covering it for the network, which has been amazing. But it's like, I haven't seen a single thing.
Hopefully, mostly she got to cover the women's hockey, because that, to me, that was like probably my highlight of it all. Of course, the men's hockey. Wow, what a letdown. Who ran the team this year? It was somebody different, correct? Was it Sean Burke or something?
Claude Julien was the coach, I believe.
No, he was the coach. No, who picked the team?
Oh, probably Doug Gilmore.
Because Gretzky sat down, or somebody big just sat down and somebody else came in.
I'm not sure.
Or Steve Yzerman sat down. Anyway, not a good team, unfortunately. Sorry, Canada guys. Like, good try, but wow, not a good team.
I mean, the debate is whether the NHL should have been there. The thing about the Olympics is that it's supposed to be the best. There's two arguments here. It's supposed to be the best amateur athletes in the world, but also the best athletes in the world.
Well, best athletes, period.
So if you're in Olympics, in this particular case, with the NHL not going over, it changed the narrative as far as at first I thought it changed the narrative from the standpoint of like the rawness that Canada always seems to get behind, which is snowboarding, skiing, and hockey, kind of went away because people were like, all right, sure. But then it gave you an opportunity to celebrate the ones that I still love an Olympian that makes it and goes for it and is the top of their category. But it was sort of like, well, the NHL is not going and they're not allowed to go. And so the guys that they sent, and with all due respect, still weren't even the best. No, like some of the best are still playing in the AHL.
I didn't like who they picked, man. I thought I think they went with not a very aggressive team. Anyway, this isn't all about sports. We won't go totally into that. But my whole thing I was going to go back to was, man, when I was in Vancouver, every morning getting up and checking on things, and you were in Vancouver when that.
It was one of the best experiences I've ever had in my life because.
That's hard to compare any other Olympics to. So you lived there during that. What was that like?
It's insane. So we, for the part of the thing that I was part of there with the Olympics is that we had live sites everywhere with bands. Yeah. So we had bands, we had like concerts every single night. The energy amongst, I was thinking about this yesterday because of all the anger that's happening in the world right now and the divide that people are basically picking a side.
Yeah.
In every, like they're literally picking a side. Yeah. And my whole thing is thinking about two moments over the last couple of years. One was with the Olympics, obviously in 2010, when the whole country came together and the divide wasn't there. It wasn't like Republican, Democrat, PC, conservative, liberal. It was like everyone was together to celebrate this thing. And Samantha was only 2 years old. We all went and watched it at the Vogue Theater in Vancouver. There was like 10 of us, and it like when they scored that overtime goal.
Oh, the hockey!
That was like the craziest thing I've ever experienced in my life because coming from Toronto, I was only 5 years into Vancouver at that point, and we didn't outside of the Blue Jays winning the World Series. The Raptors weren't good then. The Leafs were still consistently losing. So I'd never actually been in an environment where somebody
nice to have your team
won something,
and especially Canada, man. Because the whole thing that wasn't that great. That was great, and you're really lucky to be a part of that, man.
It was the one of the most incredible. I think of this moment fondly because it was to be part of the build of just be part of the live site. And that whole thing, and then the experience that went with seeing what was happening in the town, but also after moving there in 2005 and seeing the infrastructure that was put into the city, like because you could get up to Whistler now in 2 hours, whereas before it used to be 3.5 hours or whatever because it was a single
like
highway.
404 here,
right? So you could get up there so fast.
407.
trains and like everyone's property value doubled like when they announced it. It was just the energy in the city, and it also coincided with the rise of the Vancouver Canucks.
Right.
So when I moved here, it was like they'd swapped the team out. So all the things I hated about the Canucks, like Bertuzzi and Naslin and all these guys as a Leaf fan, they were gone. The only one that you had left was Bieksa, and you had the rise of Burroughs and Kessler and all these guys. And it was such an incredible thing. And to have Vancouver, you got to remember, out of 2010 Olympics, it went right into the Vancouver Stanley Cup madness. So if they would have won, we would have had the gold in Vancouver and the Stanley Cup won within a year of each other. It was like the most insane thing to be a part of. I'll never forget it ever.
So cool. It's funny. My greatest memory, and I don't remember what the gentleman was doing, what his event was, but I remember him cheering to everybody, and somebody comes up and gives him a pitcher of beer.
That was in Whistler, and that guy was I think he was I think he was either the luge or he was part of the bobsled team.
Right. And somebody comes up with a pitcher, not a beer, not a mug, not a glass, a pitcher of beer, and he just grabbed it. Woo.
I like to point out for the record that it happens in Whistler every day still, regardless of the Olympics.
I got to go to Whistler then, because I would go for a pitcher of beer right now.
I did 56 days a year there, because I would do the ski and snowboard festival in Whistler, which was just insane. This was back in my drinking days. And it'd be like shows were done on stage at 5 o'clock. 6 o'clock, and then it was like the Arkells would be in town, or all the guys, because all the bands would play the main stage, and then they would play a club after. It was the most insane thing. Whistler is insanity, and so that the energy of Vancouver in the Olympics around then is like I'll never forget it. And I don't know if they'd ever get it back, and I mean that. Like they want to look at hosting the Olympics again in Vancouver, but there's something about being the first time hosting it in a city. And just the insanity that comes with it. It was unbelievable. And
well, I think that's partially why maybe this Olympics hasn't been that well received either, too, is where it's at and everything. And but to ever have an Olympics, like, so again, going back to my point was can we ever compare an Olympic to in our lives, in our adult lives here, to probably the one that's in Vancouver? If for a Canadian and for us and for you,
I don't think
like
so.
I say, like I was in Ontario, man. I was getting up every morning, my wife and I, like checking the scores and how many medals. It was great. What a great time. So so Olympics this year, a little bit of boo earns, but Olympic women's hockey, wow! Again, so proud of those women, man.
Amazing. And just anyone who medaled still.
Oh, for sure.
I just feel bad about the coverage and all the rest.
Yeah,
and
that's, I mean, like there's kind of a
and
cloud put over the whole thing. I feel bad for the coverage I got wasn't that great either. It wasn't very exciting, like just the whole aspect of it. It's too bad. But so
coincidentally, I was in the other night, I was in Pittsburgh for a show, and the home of Sid, and his sticks were around, and it was kind of like, oh, those are the same sticks that he probably used to score the
next
golden
time you
goal.
see one of those, please grab me one. I have room on my wall besides my Toronto Maple Austin Matthews stick. That would be great. So did you see the Doctor Strange trailer yet?
I did, off and on, but there's been a couple versions since, I believe, because I think there was another.
Well, just a quick 15 seconds added today.
There was there was something with what's his name? Picard there, from the XMen.
Well, last week I talked about Bugle's out and he talks, right? Yeah. So I did a deep dive on it last week, which was pretty good. I did a whole half hour on. So I was just curious if you had seen it yet. And
the thing is I got to tell you, dude, like, you know where I am on DC and Marvel. I was coming out of WandaVision and then the Doctor Strange connection at the end. Alex was stoked and all the rest of it. Doctor Strange is a slow burn for me. I'm slowly getting into the Doctor Strange thing. I'm just late to him. I'm just late to him.
The funny thing is about this one this one looks like it's going to be the opposite of the slower kind of creepy story. It looks like this one's gonna be like zoom, 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 zoom. Was that Wolverine? Zoom, zoom, zoom. Oh my God, it's Deadpool. We're going to be going through shards of different universes here. Who knows? They've basically given the writer of Doctor Strange a free pass because it's the universes. Oh my gosh. He could take any actor, any person he liked in the history and throw them in here. It doesn't have to be a scene that stays or a character that stays, but wow, man, this could be good. So again, now this is going to lead. So I'd like to lead this into our main subject of today, because keep your ears open for. So this is going to have tons of heroes, tons of villains in this one. And it's going to be crazy. What we're going to talk about, hey, my buddy, is we're going to talk about comic book stories that should be made into TV or movies that have not been. Now, this whole thing about there being so many heroes, villains in this Doctor Strange, I got a Spider-Man movie that's going to reverse that I think should happen. Going to kind of go the opposite way. I know you yourself don't like having a whole lot of characters in there either. It's distracting, right?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I'm more about the focus, but my question to you is, have you seen the new Spider-Man yet?
No, I still haven't seen the new Spider-Man, and I need to see that. It's not out on anything streaming yet, is it?
No, not yet.
So I think the theaters just opened up again here, I think.
Yeah, I haven't actually seen
Here's my problem in life is I don't know what's open and what's closed, because I sit and draw all day and I watch like basically stuff from anything from the 90s to the 70s. So I don't really watch new stuff, and I don't watch the news. So I don't know what's going on. But
well, you got some thoughts here on that. You got some picks about these are Marvel. Basically, we'll just do Marvel at this point.
Yeah.
But Marvel stories, comic books that should be made into movies or TV that aren't already yet.
Yes,
so other stories,
which I think it should be, whether it should be TV or movie. And I got these in rating of 5, or I got a top 5 here.
Here we go. Radness.
Okay, so the first one we're going to do here is a comic book called Contest of Champions. Now, there it is. Wow. And I picked that up as a kid from a grocery store when my parents were visiting my grandparents' cottage in Port Perry, Ontario, back in late 70s, early 80s when that came out. Now, Contest of Champions was shown in Thor Ragnarok movie. Now, it was a great movie. He was the dude was the Grandmaster, played amazingly by Jeff Goldblum. Wow, he did such a great job on the Grandmaster. Right now, they basically had it more like a gladiator kind of dome kind of thing that they just fought in.
Yeah.
In the comic book, what happens is you have the Grandmaster and this mysterious person in a cloak, and they're playing a game, right? And we don't know, they played a game that they don't know what the end game is, the heroes, but they just know these two huge entities are playing a game, and they're selecting heroes from the Marvel universe. So Grandmaster comes in, selects the hero. This mysterious person in a cloak selects his hero from all these Marvel heroes selected, and they take him to this other Earth, basically, and they fight. And but certain groups of heroes are put against certain other groups of heroes. So this would and it would still have like the modern day kind of feel to it, unless the two leaders, the Grandmaster and this mystery person, decided to put them in like a space setting or something like that. It's totally up to them. So the story would be amazing if they could put between all these characters. They can basically choose from any characters in the whole Marvel universe. You could just have all unknown second stringer characters in there, or you could go the other route and have all top line ones.
Wouldn't it be super expensive though to get all this group back together?
Well, that's my point of having the second stringers in there. How cool would that be? So if we hold that picture up right there, man, so you could get, Moon Knight's in there now. Depending on how well that TV show does, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We've got the original Falcon in there. We've got Angel in there. Black Bolt, he's coming back. His actor is dying to get back in. There's some Cyclops action there. The Thing, who would be digitally enhanced. So that would be pretty G1 to do, right? Mm-hmm. Who else? Daredevil. Oh, man, that'd be great to have him in there. Depending on what they do with Iron Man, Doctor Strange would probably be hard to get. There's a guy called Defensor in there. Nobody knows about him yet. So you know what I mean? Like the chances of them just putting something really cool together would be really great. And they can do it in a TV show, like maybe 3-episode TV show.
That's what I was going to say. So after I think a fun thing to do here would be Contest of Champions, TV or movie.
Yeah. So I'm saying TV for that for sure. Because you could have 3 episodes and they go through like 3 different rounds, right? Because you got to have a winner. So it's either got to be 5 rounds or 3 rounds that they go through where the heroes fight. Now, in the comic book, at the very end, the person in the cloak reveals their head and it's death. So, and it's sad. So the Grandmaster is just like, oh, man. And the devil kind of puts his armor or her arm around Grandmaster, and they kind of fade away in the universe, and the Death is like, come on, man, you knew you were gonna lose. You know who you were messing with, right? So in the end, the Grandmaster and Jeff Goldblum could do that so amazingly. The pieces in between could be pretty funny, you know what I mean, with the way Jeff Goldblum does things, and then the fight scenes could be just incredible. They could it'd be more of a boom, 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 boom kind of action packed kind of thing. And again, throw some of these. See, I'm a big fan, as you know, of the unknown Marvel heroes, man. Let's throw some of these unknown Marvel heroes at the wall and see which ones stick. Because instead of
we're going to see with Moon Knight. We're going to see with Moon Knight.
Well, yeah, let's see with Moon Knight. I'm not thrilled with the trailer so far, but we'll see what happens.
But you don't like
not
that
my
guy.
favorite actor either.
You don't like that guy.
What's that?
You don't like Poe.
No, I don't. That's why he's not my favorite actor.
The
storylines here and there, but yeah. So Contest of the Champions would be my first one. Number 5, I would pick. And again, just see Jeff Goldblum play that character. He was great in that. You saw Thor Ragnarok, right?
I did. Yeah, it was great. I loved it.
So it would be that times a million.
Okay,
you know
cool.
What I mean?
Well, I think TV show, and I think it would be the interesting thing. I'm going to go one down. I think sticking to the CW Arrowverse kind of vibe. I think it's an actual TV show on the CW. I don't think it's a Disney Plus. I don't think it's a Netflix. I don't think it's an Amazon kind of budget. Like there's budgets there, but I think for what you're saying and the character development that they would need to do, I think that this here, in my opinion, would play better on the CW kind of TV, normal tune in on a Friday TV show verse. So that's my opinion. There we go.
Cool. Yeah, it's just one of those ones I've always wanted to see come to life.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay. So and then we got so the fourth one. Oh, okay. So my best buddy Darth Vader, and he is a Marvel comic hero, man. He's been in Marvel comics forever. Now,
yeah.
This is we both agree that this is probably the biggest untapped character in the whole Star Wars franchise.
100%.
Unreal. So
100%.
Now this could go either way. Movie, TV show, man. There's so much to Darth Vader, dude. Like there's when he went out with the Inquisitors. What I want to focus on is this. Look at how Palpatine's torturing him there. I want to go into
what a great cover.
Oh my God. Pardon me?
What a great cover.
Oh, dude, right? So you can imagine what the story's like. And there's just and how powerful is Palpatine? So he's just effing with Vader. At the beginning, it more seems like he's effing with Anakin than Vader. Like because the first series picks up right after the end of A New Hope, where he's spinning away, and he comes back. And man, so Palpatine blames him for the Death Star being blown up. Can you imagine the wrath that Vader would have faced coming back for that?
Yeah.
And Palpatine knows that he let Skywalker go, man. He knows he let Luke go. And he's playing at this. He's teasing Vader, playing cat and mouse with him. Oh, the young Jedi. Oh, the young Jedi. And he sends Boba Fett off. Darth Vader sends Boba Fett off to find out who that pilot was that blew up the Death Star. Can you imagine that scene of Vader hiding from Palpatine?
Yeah.
And out of the shadows comes Boba Fett. And Vader's like the pilot of the Millennium Falcon.
Now, could they do that given what's happened now with the Boba Fett series and how they've tied it in? Would they have to go backwards on Boba Fett?
It's a flashback, right? Because Boba Fett series comes in after Return of the Jedi. Obviously all this Vader stuff would be a flashback, right? From before Return of the Jedi. So the way, dude, Palpatine is like the very, very worst stepdad ever. Like seriously, dude, he's like the worst stepdad ever, man. And the way it plays out, you really feel Vader's the hero. So if you ever thought that Vader should be played as the hero, this comic book series come to life is incredible. And
will that ruin it though, Chris? Will it
ruin what?
Well, okay. So the perspective to the general public is that regardless, is that Darth Vader is still this evil dude, right? And we know that like he's got some humanity in him because he lets Luke go. It's his son. And he struggles with that through the first 3 movies.
Right.
And then you see him kind of, morph into him by Revenge of the Sith. But will that humanize him more and take that evil mystique away that we'd loved so much? Like this is the big complaint about Boba Fett is that Disney gave him emotion and made you care about him. Whereas for a long time, you didn't care about Darth Vader. It was just like, he's the bad guy. He's evil. And now we love layers. We love character development. But if they go down that road of showing of showing this kind of version of Darth, will it
Mhm.
ruin the mystique of Star Wars? That's my question to you.
Oh, I don't think so because here's a perfect example. Magneto. You know, you look at Magneto and you're like, wow, why is that guy such a dick? I don't get it.
Right.
Like, what is it? What's his problem? And then you watch the very beginning of XMen. In my opinion, the only thing they got right, and probably one of the greatest moments in Marvel Comics cinematic history, is the very beginning of XMen #1 when they show Magneto as a little kid. So there's your answer right there, my friend. Holy shit. You've seen that scene, right?
Absolutely.
Oh my God. Can you imagine seeing something like that with Vader? Even as like, because as I say, right after A New Hope, he's still like, you know, he's still kind of Anakin in there, right? He's not full Vader. And this also shows how he goes full Vader, you know, like, because he's not full Vader really. And people don't understand that. That's they don't understand that he's not full Vader yet until he reaches, you know, basically partway in between Empire and Return of the Jedi, and then something happens that really makes him question this whole heart change. It's amazing. So for them to cut it down and do any way they want to do it, and I mentioned him being sent out with the Inquisitors, right? Okay.
So
wait. He's out with the Inquisitors. You know who the Inquisitors are, right?
I don't. Go.
Okay. The Inquisitors are fallen Jedi who have joined the Empire after Order 66 to go hunt Jedi.
Gotcha.
Now, there can only be two. There's the Emperor, and there's Vader. What position do you think all these Inquisitors want?
Vader's job. Yeah.
Dude. Layers on Vader. So he's even doing like, even when he's getting along with Palpatine, here, go lead these guys, they'll help you. Man. And through the comic book, they're all trying to take him out when he's not least expecting it. It's fantastic, dude. So I see, I'm getting so excited about it because it is some of the best storytelling, and it answers those questions that, why that I said in our last episode. Why do we love Star Wars so much? The art is fantastic as well, too. The storytelling's fantastic. This could be TV. This could be movie. Of course, I would love to see this in movie, I think. But I'm just saying, like, as far as
I don't think they'd have enough time to tell the story that you want to tell.
No,
unless it's a
trilogy, man.
Unless it's a trilogy, that would be, I think, first vote would be that, but it would have to be done with the guys that are doing this thing.
Oh yeah,
with that are doing the new thing. Or, do you think, hey, our namesake Kevin Smith, do you think somebody like Kevin could at least get that right? I don't think he would direct it, but do you think he could write that story, or it's already written?
Here's the thing. And this is my point of this whole deal is they have the source material. It's right there. They just need somebody like you and Mike have mentioned to come in and say, oh, here's what I'm going to do with this. Slightly change this, add this. That's what the blueprint's there in all these, my friend. Sure. And if we look at Avengers #1, the blueprint was there for that. Spider-Man, the blueprints are here for all these. They just haven't been fleshed out yet.
So we can
agree.
As
we mentioned, Vader is the biggest untapped, most brilliant source / Anakin of the Star Wars universe, in my opinion.
And we're going to see Hayden Christensen back for Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
So maybe this is an opportunity for him to add a few acres to his farm. Yeah. And they can do a whole thing.
Palpatine's Vader, Anakin's dad. He created him.
Yeah. So here we are.
Oh my God.
Okay. So I think you're saying 3-part movie series.
I'm saying anything, just get the right guys in there to do. If you want to get Filoni to do 12 TV show episodes and do it proper, do that. And just have Vader and get inside his noggin, taxi driver it. You know what I mean? Or Joker it.
What's funny about that is that they kind of do that with The Force Awakens with Kylo Ren.
Oh, and it was great. I love Kylo Ren.
They spend a lot of time inside Kylo's brain,
fleshing him out for nothing, absolutely nothing.
Well,
all this Vader stuff.
I think that the Kylo Ren thing led to the eventual rise of Ben, and I think that's I was fine with how the Kylo Ren thing ended, outside of the fact that I love the development of him, his struggle within himself, and then at the end, he dies. But at the end, spoiler alert. But at the end, I was fine with the Kylo Ren.
I thought he was cool. Here's my thing, buddy. Change the parents of Rey, and you remember we mentioned this. The chain reaction dude, is a totally different movie. I think they should have been brother and sister. That would have been amazing. It would have been obvious.
Yeah, I thought
It would have been
they were going
heartfelt.
there. They were
right?
going there
Like,
with it, but
it would have been obvious, but still,
Chris
it would have
touched
made.
on this last week. Chris touched on this last week as far as like, and it never ends. Why are Star Wars fans so passionate about this franchise? Because we all have our version of what we like about it. We all have our version of who we are. Chris is, I consider myself very deep in Star Wars. And by very deep, I mean likely up to my waist. Chris is drowning. So he's so far into it. And I would even wager like Mike is even further into me. I consider myself very smart about the certain aspects of Star Wars. But when you dive into like this, which I haven't even opened up yet, or this, then it's like I got so much work to do. But that's the part that's exciting. But why are we so passionate? We all have our own version about why we're passionate about it. So
the comic books are also the Star Wars comic books are all by Disney and are canon. And canon means they affect the major story.
Totally.
Yeah.
So movies. We're saying movie for this.
I'm saying anything, but yeah, I would love to see a Vader trilogy.
Sure.
Man.
Okay.
Love to see
Vader trilogy. If you're listening to Lucasfilm, Disney, let's go.
Yoda would still be around too. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we've got so number 3. 5, 4, 3. So in the middle here we got Galactus. And is there anything cooler than this guy? The number one selling piece, the number one viewed piece, the number one favorited piece in my art store is one I did of Galactus and the Silver Surfer. He is just so Jack Kirby created Galactus, and he was tasked with the thought in the bullpen when they're hanging out or whatever, just on his own. Like Marvel's universe is different than our universe. What would a god look like in our universe? So he created Galactus, who devours planets, like he thought maybe a god would. Okay, because everybody has different gods. Some people worship like 10 gods, right? You know what I mean? So in this Marvel universe, Jack Kirby, my art god, he created Galactus. Now, that was kind of that. See, Jack Kirby really created Galactus and Silver Surfer.
Okay,
he brought Silver Surfer into Stan Lee, and he was like, "Who's this guy? Who's it? We talked about Galactus, but who's this guy?"
Yeah.
So Jack Kirby says, well, Galactus needs somebody to speak for him. He needs a herald, somebody to go search out these planets. So that's the Silver Surfer. Now, the Silver Surfer was in a Fantastic Four movie, Rise of the Surfer. Mm-hmm. That wasn't very good. Galactus was a cloud. I'm not even going to get into that. This needs to be done properly, right? So I think Galactus, the special effects nowadays would be amazing. Again, some of the space stuff that they could explore out there and explore properly is with Galactus. He devours planets, man. The guy eats planets. Now, the Silver Surfer, Galactus went to eat the Silver Surfer's planet. Shangri-La, I believe was called. Isn't that a nice name? Very peaceful planet. And Silver Surfer he was just not a human, but whatever their species is, was just a person. He made a deal with Galactus. He says, don't eat my planet, and I will work for you. I will go out and find planets for you for subsistence so you don't have to look anymore. So he took off with Galactus and he's looking for planets. So he ended up giving up Shangri-La for Earth or something like that in the original story. These changed slightly, right? But the bottom line is Silver Surfer made a sacrifice for Galactus. Now, the other thing that happened is Silver Surfer, like an angel for God, was trapped on Earth. So Jack Kirby was really writing this Dogma story, which we watched the other day, which is a whole other thing. But wow, by Kevin Smith, right? Jack Kirby was writing this whole kind of God story, and his fallen angel was the Silver Surfer. Now, doesn't that sound cool? That sounds a lot cooler than the Silver Surfer movie, right? Like, so you got this God, as I'm doing the air quotes coming in, this Marvel God coming in, that wants to eat the planet, and you have his fallen angel, his herald coming in, and you got to have Silver Surfer not, care enough about the people of Earth to risk his life, his essence, his home planet, and talk Galactus not into devouring his planet. Now, I think this could be a great a TV show. I think the movie wouldn't get enough people in there because I think it would be really deep and very, very humanizing. It'd be a very humanizing movie.
Look what they did with the last
show.
Jack Kirby one.
Pardon me?
With the Eternals. Look what they did with the
They
Eternals.
killed it. Yeah. Oh, dude, let's not touch on that. That's going to take
I'm
a
just
lot
saying,
more. That hurt. No, but I know.
Honestly,
We'll bring that up, but don't get me going on that right now. So let's take this as to my view. You go after this as a TV show. where you're really looking actually into the history of the Marvel universe. Like we look into the Egyptians, and like we would look into the cavemen, like we wouldn't look into Romans. Let's look into the Marvel universe as in other planets and other histories, and really look at Galactus, this huge being who eats. Can you imagine? Dude, this guy eats planets.
Could they do, I know that the comic book community would be well aware, but one of the things that a lot of these, like with WandaVision, had, people had to be educated, like what we had to do with, well, I myself, I had to get educated, and look what we had to do with Locke and Dean. So there's a lot of people that having to be educated about Galactus, and that's where I think it would fail as a movie.
Well, here's what you do though, and I was going to mention this too, is because you tie it in. So you have to tie all these in with other movies. So as I mentioned, Contest of the Champions ties in with Thor Ragnarok, right?
Yeah.
We've got our Darth Vader that ties into everything Star Wars. There's no, we don't need anything for that. Okay.
Yeah.
We've got Galactus here now and the Silver Surfer. Galactus ties into Guardians of the Galaxy. Okay. You bring him in through, I was going to say you bring him in through the Eternals originally, but F that, because they screwed that up. So you could, that would have been a great segue for Galactus. And you could even have Thanos in there at some point too, with Galactus too, right? It's crazy. The scope you could bring this to. But you could nowadays, looking at the way the Marvel universe is scoped out, man, bring this in through Guardians of the Galaxy, and it could be funny off the hop. Like the Guardians are flying through the galaxy and they bump into something and it's foot, it's like, and they pan up, and then you get just this quick, who's Galactus? That's who Galactus.
Well, maybe it'll happen. I mean, there's a new Guardians
and the Guardians are like, no, because they're fearless, right? And they're like, no, and then okay, here's Galactus.
Yeah.
The big shadow of Galactus comes over their ship, their tiny little ship. Silver Surfer flies by them. They're like, whoa, dude, I could write this. Okay, so there's Galactus. So that'd be number 3. Okay, you're in. Go.
Awesome. I would say then, to your point, I think you made a great point, because I didn't realize that it tied into.
Sorry, I'm doing that with all of them.
Yeah, but I didn't realize that it tied into Guardians. So
I'm going to do that with all these I suggest.
Yeah, that's fine. So I agree with you. I still some of these character development stories I think need time, and I don't know if you can. I'm good with a 2.5 hour movie if it gets everywhere. But I think when you're, unless it's the big ones like Darth Vader, we could all sit through three 2.5 hour Darth Vader movies. We know that we could do that. Will the audience sit through a 2.5 hour Galactus movie after being introduced? No. So I think it's got to go back to Disney, and I think it's more than a CW. I think that they could turn it into a TV series on Disney Plus that would tie into something else that they got coming out. I don't know how Galactus ties into
it would
Wanda and Doctor Strange and some of these other things that they have in development.
That would just tweak him. He'd be like, what was that?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that.
I think that they could do it, but I also look at like the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and it was sort of this standalone thing. Same with Hawkeye. It was kind of like, cool. Did we need it? I'm not sure. So that's where I'm wondering if the audience is getting exhausted by all of these things, and that's where I wonder how it would fit in. But I think if you break it down the way you said, then maybe it would work on Disney Plus as a TV show.
Here's why we need it. And I don't think Disney and Marvel are realizing that this is what the fans need now. Okay, we understand it's Earth.
Yeah.
We understand there's superheroes on there. We understand the technology that on this Marvel Earth is far beyond what we're doing. All right. We understand that. We all understand that. The Guardians of the Galaxy are tipping around out there. Wow, they went into a head. That was a planet. Okay, let's get out there. You get into the history of where these heroes are coming from. Thanos, man, you do this Galactus TV show, and all of a sudden, one of the side characters is kind of the history of Thanos. See, you would have focused on more of that of the Eternals. You would have had a movie. Even just throwing Thanos in there, like he should have been in there.
I was waiting for him to come in. But,
but it's one of those things where it's not even pumped. You're watching the movie and it's like, it's fucking Thanos, and he's wow. Like that.
But I heard that this is also the last Guardians of the Galaxy, so they really got to cover this. They really got to try to
well, that's what I'm saying.
Or figure it out.
My whole point is that the Galactus thing and all that is Disney and Marvel. This is one of those things that being on the inside of this for like over 40 years is something that they're not aware that Marvel fans need to see, and that it's going to trickle down into the young audience because it's in space, man. Like space, if you do space properly, we've seen what it can do. I didn't think the Guardians of the Galaxy was going to be a good movie. Did you?
Well, I mean, again, I'm not as far in as you, so I actually wasn't too familiar with it going in, and then I loved
the humor of it and the way it was written and the
It was done
character
different.
creation, right? Yeah,
It was great.
Like it was just really good. So anyway, so they could bring that in, show more history. Disney, Marvel, we need to see history done. We need to see it done properly, and if it's for us adults, keep it to a TV show.
Sure.
All right, so now we're up to so we're on the top 2 now. Okay.
Ooh.
Top 2. Now, this is cool. Now, these two are again my brain. Spider-Man versus Kraven. That's it. It's Spider-Man versus Kraven. There's no Mary Jane. There's no
just a standalone.
There's no Daily Bugle. There's no don't do that. Yeah, that's
sorry.
That's all right though. There's no Daily. It's Spider-Man against Kraven. Kraven comes hunting for Spider-Man, and Spider-Man has a week of hell. And in this series, Kraven actually kills him, as I do the air quotes, stops his heart and buries Spider-Man, puts on the Spider-Man outfit, and claims that he has defeated Spider-Man, his greatest adversary. So you get this guy from another country, Kraven, who's hunting animals, doing voodoo, making himself strong with voodoo, hunting bears. His whole thing is conquering. He is a hunter. He has people come out to his jungle, and he fights them. He reads of Spider-Man in the New York Times or in the Daily Bugle, and he's like, this is the greatest champion of New York City. He goes to New York City, he hunts down Spider-Man, and they fight, and they fight, and they fight. It goes on psychological levels, though, because this is a person who's fighting Spider-Man just because he wants to be the best. He's not trying to, it's not like Lex Luthor. It's not like the Joker. Lex Luthor wants to take over the world. Joker just wants to see it burn. Kraven just wants to defeat Spider-Man. Do you see how focused this is on Spider-Man, Brent?
Yeah.
You see how it's just this guy's, and at first Spider-Man doesn't know why. Peter Parker's like, what the fuck, buddy? What are you doing to me? And he kills him. Spider-Man wakes up in a friggin' coffin. What the fuck, man? This happens right off the hop of the movie, dude.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
That'd
He
be
gets
great.
out of the coffin. He's like, oh my God, what's going on? He realizes somebody's taken over Spider-Man and is killing people in New York City. It's not him. It's Kraven. Wow.
So he kills him, takes him over, and becomes sort of Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
But how does he? But
not a nice Spider-Man.
No.
And when he shows up to these criminals, they're like, okay, arrest me. And he just keeps walking towards them. And they're like, whoa, man, just beats the like. So he's he's becoming the Spider. And at the beginning of the comic, dude, he does voodoo to make himself stronger.
I was going to say, like, how does he fly around and use the?
He doesn't fly. Kraven doesn't fly, dude.
Now, how does he do the web and all that stuff? How does he do?
He doesn't. He just dresses. No.
Just dresses as him and just goes and whoops some ass. Wow.
Kraven,
cool.
dude, is just, man. He is just the guy in the jungle who has pride. He is a hunter. He's, you know what I mean?
I see Venom in here. So can they tie it into Venom at all?
Oh no, this is great. This is back when the Spider-Man costume wasn't really explained yet.
Right.
So this is some cool stuff. No, you know what happened there though? Is he had to put that costume back on because he took his red and black one. A red and blue one. So see there. That's a great question. So the reason he put that old costume on, that's not the symbiote. The reason he put that old costume on is because he took his red and blue on, and he pulls it. Yeah, he's like, oh, Mary Jane, I got to wear this. I got to put this back on. She's like, oh, geez, really? And he's like, yeah, I have to.
I've got my vote then already.
Okay.
For this.
Yeah.
Animated.
Oh wow, that'd be cool.
The way they're doing the Spider-Verse. What was that one that they did with the kid?
Wasn't it
the Spider-Verse? Yeah, Into the Spider-Verse or something.
Yeah.
I loved that so much. That it was such a fantastic, movie. And if they did it with that animation and told that story,
just Spider-Man and Kraven.
Yeah,
because we've been talking about this. This aggravates both of us when it's like, okay, you got a great movie here. Hey, here's some great other actors. Let's throw these other actors in there. No, don't. No. Dan and Don Dave and Don
Dave
on the
and Don.
boardroom. Hey guys, I got we get really cheap right now is really hot.
We got to get that.
Let's
What's
throw
Jessica
Colin Farrell
Biel?
in
What's
there.
Jessica Biel
Jessica
doing
Biel's
right
doing
now?
nothing right now. We could get her
Let's
for a
get her.
song. Throw her in there. Who's she gonna
Yeah.
play? Doesn't matter.
Let's make her a secretary that also kicks some ass and she helps Spider-Man not die. Let's go with that. And then what we'll do is, because she's married to Timberlake, maybe we can get him too. And then he can be the Spider-Man, and and then they can make out, and then it's not awkward. Yeah.
Dan and
Whatever.
Don, Dave and Don.
I like
good.
the animated for this. I think this would play out animation wise because you can really run with
And you know what, dude? That is a great idea because I would love to see rated R.
Well, and look what they did with Invincible, or what
Yep.
what was that series? How violent and crazy that series was.
I never thought of that. That is a good point.
think-
If I had a bell to ring, buddy, I'd be ringing the bell for you. That animated, and they? Marvel doesn't really have that. Rated R, adult, animated feature.
That's my vote for this.
5 Deans. Boom.
5 Deaners.
5 Deaners. Oh, that's good, huh?
Let's
See,
go
dude,
with that.
this is what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah, let's go with that.
you leave Dave and Don out of it, and you come up with these great ideas. Okay, so you ready for number 1?
Number 1, everybody, stand by. Let's do a little, because I don't have any other sound effects. Go.
Okay, now this is great because we haven't seen Marvel do X-Men yet, so it had to be X-Men number 1.
Stand by. Everybody.
Had to be. Okay. Wow. This series here, man, was the X-Men in the late 70s, early 80s. The team was Wolverine, Colossus, Cyclops, Storm, Nightcrawler, Jean Grey, Phoenix.
Yeah.
Angle on there. Beast was in there occasionally. In this series, they fought a group called the Hellfire Club. Yeah, look at them taking it. They're basically
Coincidentally, was the name of your first band.
Yeah, I know, right? Hellfire Club. Ooh, I wonder who came up with the name for that band in there. It's
And
funny
the
too.
other band.
I think
And the
somebody
other
else,
band.
no, but I think somebody else might have even tried to take credit for naming the band. And it's like, seriously? Anyway, so here's an interesting fact. Now, the gentleman on the far left, I apologize if you're not watching this, with the red hair, his name is Donald Pierce.
Don.
Yeah, no. Yeah, get a good one. But check this out. No, check this out. That's Donald Pierce. You don't recognize that name?
I don't.
The Logan movie.
No, Logan, right?
Donald Pierce was the main antagonist.
Right.
This is where he first appears. Logan cuts the living shit out of this dude, and a whole bunch of their other guard guys. They all become Reaver. These guys here, look at him. He rips them apart. They become the Reavers. They come after him in the movie Logan. Oh my god. And this is just great. Because what you got here is you got a great story of Phoenix. She is being manipulated by one of the very first evil mutants ever, Mastermind. And he has these illusions that he passes over people, right? Like super crazy. So he puts Jean Grey Phoenix in this other way back in like the 50s, and she can't see things properly, and she joins the Hellfire Club and basically takes out the X-Men there, right? And now you got to show the other Wolverine one, man, because this is where Wolverine became popular. This was when John Byrne started. There it is. There, right there. That is legendary. Okay, suckers, you've taken your best shot. Now it's my turn. Next issue, Wolverine alone. Dude, that right there changed Wolverine. That made Wolverine. And I defy anyone in comic book history, anybody comic book chatting anywhere, to tell me that did not define Wolverine. I will argue you to the ground. Boom. That is huge.
Bring it on, friends. Let's see some arguments. Let's
bring that on. That is Wolverine. And then so go to that other cover of Wolverine alone there, and there's the cover of the next issue. Dude,
look at
that brought Wolverine
That's
alive.
wicked.
That is his first solo issue.
So it
ever.
went from here to here to here.
Boom.
Okay.
Wow, dude. So this is Wolverine coming to life. And the greatest part of this is that Donald Pierce coming through in the new Logan and being the guy that chases him down, man.
I loved Logan. It was up until I loved Logan. I thought it was such a great movie.
I thought they were going to go to Alpha Flight after that with the kids going to Canada. Oh, that would have been perfect. You know who Alpha Flight is?
It was great.
It's
that's
like the Canadian X-Men.
Right.
It's where Wolverine started, basically.
Well, and they touch on it a little bit in the original X-Men movie that came out.
So,
right?
so
'Cause
this
he's-
is my
he's
number
in a-
one though.
because
buddy.
he's in a bar. He's in a bar,
Yeah.
right? Fighting in northern Canada.
Excuse me.
Right.
Fuck off.
Let's also for a second acknowledge that Deadpool's from Regina, so there's a lot of Canadiana in this stuff.
Oh fuck, dude. There's totally
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
lot of Canadiana in this
Yeah.
stuff.
So that's my X-Men pick is to do the Hellfire Club run. It's got to be 3 movies. The Dazzler actually does a guest appearance in this as well. Kitty Pryde first appears in this roundabout storyline as well. So there's some other little ones that could go on to do, especially Dazzler, man. Dazzler should be done properly. Kitty Pryde's a great character, Shadowcat for the younger viewers, which will bring in the younger viewers because she's young. She's the first of the younger X-Men in this later edition.
Yeah.
Now I don't know if they could do this right away because they want to introduce the X-Men first, but eventually this story really needs to be told. I just think it's a great story.
Who
and the
plays
Hellfire
the new
Club's-
Wolverine? Who plays the
Pardon me?
new Wolverine? Who plays
Who
the
plays
new
it?
Wolverine? Yeah.
Dude, Daniel Radcliffe.
He keeps trying to get it,
Yeah,
so maybe they'll give it to him.
My vote is for Daniel Radcliffe. I really think he should get the role. I think he's a fantastic actor. I think he's got the right height. He could put the muscles on. I'm sure he could.
Got to hit the
And
gym,
especially if it's a young Wolverine. Now again, if they're going to take the old man Wolverine logo, just put Hugh Jackman back in there, man, for sure. Like I don't know what this is. It's going to be interesting what timeline they use. If they go for a young Wolverine, though, Daniel Radcliffe is my vote, brother. Who do you put in there?
Well, I like him. Yeah, I like him in there too. I think he'd be
I don't
great.
know a lot of the new actors really, so like I would have never guessed Tom Holland to be such a great Spider-Man because I have no idea. I didn't know who he was.
Yeah, I think it's funny. Here's the problem with the push, though. The push to get Daniel Radcliffe in that role it's almost like when it reminds me of like when all the wrestling fans want to get behind a wrestler and Vince goes, nah. Like,
yeah, well,
like they're like Daniel Bryan's our guy. They're like, nah. All right, and then a month before WrestleMania, oh, we better fix this and make Daniel Bryan the guy.
Well, I don't know. I think Marvel is better for fan service than Vince. Like Vince, you're right. Sure. You nailed that. Vince McMahon's the opposite. Oh, is this what you want? Fuck you, Vince says. Marvel and Star Wars, like almost too much, right?
Well,
to the point where it's almost too much fan service.
I think and if it goes bad with Radcliffe, then people are gonna be like, oh. So I don't know. I like him in that role. I don't know the new young kids. I really like this kid from Dune a lot. I don't know if he looks like a Wolverine to me, but he was really cool. I think that Timothée Chalamet kid. I think he's too pretty for that. You got to have a rough kind of dude.
Oh, geez, yeah, Wolverine cannot be. That's the last thing he should be is pretty, right? I don't know about yeah. I'll have to do a little bit of a look and see who I think. But I haven't seen anybody better than Daniel Radcliffe. But I just think he's a really good actor too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I just you got to get somebody in there that can act. And this is what.
What's the other kid? The other guy that was Frodo.
Oh, who was Frodo? What's his name there?
Because he took on some.
City.
He took on
Elijah Wood.
Elijah Wood. He took on some interesting kind of like darker roles.
He's a child actor. He's awesome, right?
So
These child actors, man.
Maybe he could work, but I think maybe Radcliffe. That's where they're going. So
he's getting a little old, Elijah Wood.
Right? Yeah. So who knows? But that was a killer list, man. That was
thanks,
awesome.
Dude. Yeah,
that was awesome.
You love the way I linked them from.
Yeah,
from
it was
things,
awesome,
right?
and I learned something today too, which is what we're here for. It's for me to learn
that's awesome,
as well.
Buddy.
You know what I'm saying?
And again, the point I was trying to make last week was, although the station is really heavily political and sports headed, and they have the best political people, they have the best sports people. Little known fact is you've got one of the best pop culture minds right here.
Absolutely.
And I have a room full of comic books that I can back a lot of my stories up with and stuff. It's my life. I work in the comic industry. I have to look at this stuff. I want to look at this stuff. Yeah. And this brain's better than everyone's.
And everyone's so angry all the time right now. But you know what they don't get angry about usually? Movies and comic books and film, and of which I'm missing Vancouver Fan Expo right now, by the way, which sucks because I always loved going to those, and it's live in person and people are there. Actually, the whole cast of Superman and Lois is there, which would have been rad. Even though they film a block from my house, that would be kind of cool to see. And it's funny, I keep bugging James Gunn because they've renewed the Peacemaker for Cena, and they film that downtown Cloverdale where I live,
nice.
like where I live, and James is like pretty rad for like responding to people on Twitter. So like when he posted something about the Peacemaker and I had said like, love it. Hope you enjoyed the coffee from Republica in downtown Cloverdale or something. And he retweeted it with a yes. And I was like, And then Peacemaker got picked up for a second season, which tells me they're going to film down in Cloverdale again. So I sent a tweet saying, so, hey, Cena and Gunn, how about some coffee in Cloverdale? Nice. And Gunn hit back with a heart. So I'm like, I never know. Maybe they'll take him for some coffee. You know what I'm saying?
You got to start digging for some Easter eggs. That guy, he loves those Easter eggs, dude. When you kind of, because he likes playing that game with people. Oh, you found that one, or oh no, it's close, but not yet. Oh, James Gunn is like my kind of guy. I look kind of similar to James Gunn. I know.
Yeah.
Same here.
So let's talk about. Okay, we got something coming up this week.
Yeah, well, that's what I had to talk about, buddy. We wrapped up. We're just under 5 minutes under an hour. Look at us go.
This week, okay. Well, a couple things before we get to that. Number one, remind everybody. One of the subjects actually I wanted to talk about was this article that came out today from David Fear. For the love of Leatherface, can someone please kill this new Texas Chainsaw Massacre? Again, part of me is always kind of like, leave well and good alone. Let's come up with new characters. Let's do everything. However, I was a real big fan of the remake of the Stooges thing. I'm a big Stooges fan, and I thought Will Sasso and those guys did an amazing job of doing. The Farrelly brothers did a killer job. So sometimes it's funny, but the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, they've tried again. The New Beginning, the New Generation, blah blah blah. Friday the 13th, this new. But I think the time is different. We grew up in this era of like, who's gonna scare us next? What is the next thing? Okay, and we all looked forward to a new character: Hellraiser, Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, Mike Myers. It was part of this rise of some of the greatest scary things at all time, but it was also the rise of going to the movies. It was also the rise of being scared in the movies. It was also the rise of all these kind of like franchises and VHS and all this stuff. So now it's like, why? Okay, you're remaking it. Then remake it and make it amazing. Like Netflix apparently spent a shit ton of money for the rights to this and brought some of the original people in to make it. And it's just getting hammered. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that's the way it is. Some stuff we like and some people don't like, but God, like, why
it's
can't
Dave and Don? That's why.
Why can't we get new, scary, awesome characters? And I think it's
because they have meetings, and then Dave and Don come in and say, "No, here's where that won't sell. You know what will sell? A guy in a hockey mask. It's a proven fact, right, Dave? Sure is, Don. Let's get some sushi."
Well, and the other side of it too, I think, is what the way the culture is now, and the way things are. It's kind of like, is anyone really scared or surprised anymore?
Well, and that's a good point, because I was looking back at folk horror. Because getting some research for my writing, and man, there's a lot of like, what's his name there with Us and Get Out?
Keel.
He dives into this stuff a bit, and so does Shyamalan there. Shyamalan.
I really like him a lot, actually.
So the whole thing about the folk horror is like a couple driving and going to get gas and finding a small little town that has these strange people in it, and the more they dig into it, it's even stranger and scarier. Like, you know what I mean? Or it's an older gentleman trying to relive the old ways, and bringing back the old culture, which isn't proper anymore. And he's embedding it in a really weird religious or weird,
which is happening in Ottawa and Windsor right now, by the way.
And or you have a forest, and who's in the forest? Witches.
Yeah.
So it's going back to that kind of horror. Again, I think that's what the general public needs, is more of the imagination horror, more of the Blair Witch horror, more of the, not maybe the whole thing at the end's like, oh my God, I didn't see that coming, but just more of an acceptable horror. The psycho
a little bit more realistic side of it,
not so much that somebody has mentally broke down and wants to kill everyone. That's done to death. Wow, he killed everyone. Why? Well, he's mentally unbalanced. Okay, we've seen that, and he can't be shot, and he can't be cut, and he hides, and he doesn't die. Again, let's get the thing where
I'm all for a slasher flick. Trust me, I love
I'm
Nightmare on
burnt
Elm
out on
Street.
them myself.
But I
yeah.
love Nightmare on Elm Street, at least up until Dream Warriors. Maybe even number 4. It was kind of right on the last bit of it. Then it got really campy and weird. Then Roseanne was in it. It's like, okay, that's enough. But Jason takes Atlanta. Jason takes Minnesota.
Jason goes to space.
Jason takes Florida. It's like Jason goes to space. It's like,
Yeah.
I get it, but it's like, as long as whatever, and Sleepaway Camp 8, she's still around and
again,
hiding in the woods.
One,
You know,
the first one was great.
yeah.
Oh, what an ending!
But the third one played to our love of slasher flicks.
Yeah,
like into 1, 2, and 3 all played into our love of slasher. I get it, but the slasher flick thing is just so like. I showed the kids Scream a couple weeks ago for the first time, and they were like, it was more of like a mystery to them because they're just so desensitized to scariness now that they were like, well, I think he did it. Oh, I think he did it. And I'm like,
oh wow, and that's a great one to pop around because it's hard to figure out who did that. I was like,
and then the other side of it too. And I was thinking about that when you're talking about M. Night and that, like when I heard that he was doing a movie about the woods, about being, about the boogeyman in the woods and whatever that became, which was The Village.
Yeah.
I was super excited, and then I watched it and I was like, okay, it's about a cult in the woods, and I get it, but man, the idea that he would direct a movie about being scared in the woods, and like the way he builds, dread and grief and just scariness, I was like, this is going to be the perfect thing. And I remember just being like, and then he had Wahlberg in a movie about the wind, and I'm like,
well, that one was bad. Yeah, The Village was a little ahead of its time, maybe.
Totally.
Because I remember watching it and being like, well, this is pretty cool, but and I can remember getting near, a little more than halfway through thinking and doubting the main villain. And I was thinking that, it was done badly, but no, it was just that I was kind of getting, oh shit, I get it now. But I was just kind of cracking it. So that's why I don't know if it was ahead of its time or if it was really well written. But again, you can't watch his movies twice.
Well, no, you can't. And so anyways, it's interesting to see that article. I want to try to see if we can get that guy on the show because I would love to see.
So, I was just going to watch that. So
you should just watch it anyways. I'll probably try to watch it too.
You know what? If I get half hour in and I'm not liking it, I'll change it because I'm really bad for that with my ADD. I'll just be like, nope, next.
A couple days from now, I crossed the bridge towards the other side of getting closer to the halfway there. It's my birthday on Wednesday.
Yeah, happy birthday!
Also on Wednesday is the Pink Shirt Day discussion hosted by our good buddy Jedi Jimmy. James P. White from 95.7 Cruise FM. He's got Jesse Lumsden, Mercedes Nickel, and Kelly Falardeau, and they're going to talk about bullying. And what's interesting about this is that it applies to every aspect of the world, especially with what we're in right now. I was bullied as a kid, but everyone's getting bullied online right now for their beliefs and all the rest of it. No matter what side of the fence you're on, people are getting bullied left and right. So I think that it's a great cause. And so, Facebook allows you to pick something on your birthday. I've set up a little bit of a thing about, that's going to donate some money to the Kids Help Phone. So we're already at $500. So hey, if you're listening, if you're watching, you got $10, $5. I sound like I'm on one of those telethons. If you don't mind donating, come visit me on my Facebook page, which we'll link out, and make a little donation. And it'll all go to Jimmy's cause here. He wanted it to go to the Children's Help Phone or the Kids Help Phone, so we're going to do that. And let's try to raise a couple of bucks. We set it at a modest $2,500. I said we're at $500 now. So over this next week, hopefully we'll get there and be able to make a donation for Jimmy and the Pink Shirt Day. So
high five, Jimmy.
Yeah, buddy. And thanks for jumping in last week to host as I was away running shows in America.
5 Dieners for Jimmy's appearance on our show.
Right. All right, friends. That's a Kids on the Escalator for another Monday night. Thank you so much for tuning in on the Dean Blundell Network. Be safe.
Wrap.
That's a wrap. Be safe. Be nice to each other. Try to be nice to each other, unless someone's not being
Party
nice to
on
you.
And be excellent to each other.
That's
Don't
right.
be a douche.
And that's what we want from our listeners on this show. Thanks, everybody. KidsOnTheEscalator.com. Visit us there. Listen to us there. Watch all the things there. Visit us on YouTube. Subscribe. All this shit. He's doing the whole thing. Yay! That's Chris.
That's my
Machete.
Kermit the Frog, man.
That's
I
Chris
got it back.
Machete over there. I'm Brent and
gotta
on
be
tour,
loose.
and,
No, I gotta lay
and
down now.
I'm on tour in America, and we appreciate you guys tuning in. Good times.
Rad dudes.
Bye, everybody.